Thank you for joining us today at the much anticipated, certainly by us, opening of the Rolls-Royce Seletar campus. Some of you may have heard about the commitment we made in 2007 to build a facility of the future for the assembly and test of large civil aviation engines in Singapore. The first time we will assemble and test large engines outside our home market. And 2 years later, in 2009, we broadened our commitment here and announced construction of an additional facility to build wide-chord fan blades. These components are core technology for us and represent a real competitive advantage. They have played a key role in the success of our Trent Aero engine family, which is now the global market leader for wide-body aircraft. This is also the first time we will manufacture such a critical technology for large commercial jet engines in Asia outside our home market. Following these decisions, we further developed the concept of being in Singapore into what we see here today at the Rolls-Royce campus, a state-of-the-art manufacturing, training and research center. I am pleased to announce that the Seletar campus is ready to go, on schedule and on budget. The first production engine will roll out of Seletar in the third quarter of this year and will be shipped to Toulouse in France. Today's opening marks many firsts, not only for Rolls-Royce, but also for Singapore and broader civil aviation industry in Asia. Rolls-Royce is already a major player in Singapore's aerospace industry. Our operations account for about 15% of the country's aerospace output, even before this campus opens for business. Our civil aerospace business in Singapore includes highly successful joint venture partnerships with Singapore Airlines Engineering Company. These include Singapore Aero Engine Services Limited, SAESL, which carries out repair and overhaul of Trent Aero engines from customers all over the world, and International Engine Component Overhaul, which is an aero engine component repair facility. And we expect our contribution to the economy here to grow as we ramp up our various manufacturing, assembly, testing, training, and R&D activities here. In line with this, we anticipate that the number of Rolls-Royce employees in Singapore will increase to over 2,000 people once the facility ramps up to full capacity over the next few years. The demand for aircraft engines and innovative products and services will intensify, driving the demand for a highly skilled workforce. The importance of the human factor has led us to establish a regional training center at this campus that has the capacity to deliver 20,000 person days of training a year across a broad spectrum of learning, from technical skills in all our business sectors to employee development and management training. The center will not only train our own employees, but will also cater to customers from across the region. Our Asia-based customers now have a world-class training facility closer to their own centers of operation. We're also in training delivery partnerships with SI Engineering Company and the Institute of Technical Education here in Singapore, which were announced last year. We're collaborating with local research partners such as A*STAR, Nanyang Technological University, and the National University of Singapore through our Advanced Technology Center, which is next door here, also located at the campus. This center is pursuing research in areas such as computational engineering, electrical systems, manufacturing process technology, and field services. As an integrated manufacturing, training, and research facility, the Seletar campus represents, in our view, our commitment to excellence. This is by nature our long-term commitment, and we expect that both the local community and the wider economy in Singapore will benefit from the value add it will generate. And the ripple effect through the supply chain ecosystem will also be felt region-wide. To put this into perspective, research we commissioned a couple of years ago predicts that we will, as we continue to ramp up our activities here, by about 2015, our value-add contribution in Singapore alone will grow to around 1.7 billion Singapore dollars, or about 0.5 of the projected GDP of Singapore. This region is hugely important to us. It is well known that Asia is leading the world in terms of civil aviation growth, and the region is expected to account for about a third of global air traffic by 2028, and as compared to about 28% today. Together with our industry and academic partners and through our own activities, we fully expect to increasingly become a core component of Singapore and the region's civil aviation industry. We have been active in the region for many years and look forward to the next chapter of our story here with the opening of the Salita campus. Thank you very much. I would like to hand over the mic now.
Thank you, Jonathan. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on what is truly a special day for Rolls-Royce and for Singapore. Some of you may have been here 2 years ago in a marquee which we erected on this site. It's the only thing on this site to mark the start of construction on this facility. I think you can see an awful lot has changed. It's been the most remarkable journey and story, and today is the combination of us finishing the construction and opening the facility. I'm very pleased, delighted to be here in fact. I've been coming to Singapore now since 1994, many times I've been here, working closely with the airline and our partners in this part of the world. And for me this is really rather special to be here today, being part of the opening of this facility. Let me explain why we think Singapore is so important to Rolls-Royce, and in fact I think there are some really interesting parallels between growth here in Singapore, more broadly in the Asia region, and that of Rolls-Royce. I mean, 20 years ago, Rolls-Royce had emerged from a nationalised period and was predominantly operating in Western Europe and America, with a smattering of former colonial flag carriers and customers around the world. Over the last 20 years, over the same period of time, Asia has been transformed into a massive player in the global economic landscape. The region's GDP growth averaged at 7% annually, while Singapore's GDP growth averaged 6.5%. Meanwhile, Asia has made formidable leaps to attract and develop high-skilled engineering jobs. Research and development expenditures in 10 Asian countries have risen to match that of the United States, and the number of doctoral degrees in engineering awarded in Asia has more than doubled. In parallel, Rolls-Royce has had a small office here with a handful of people in the early 1990s. But today our workforce in Singapore has grown to over 1,400 people, and we contribute 15% of Singapore's aerospace output. At this very moment, at least 200,000 people are airborne on over more than 30 different types of civil aircraft powered by Rolls-Royce engines in service with 300 different airlines. And sometimes that number is much higher, as it varies during the day. So every single day, a Rolls-Royce powered civil aircraft takes off or lands every 2.5 seconds. Last year alone, we powered over 5.5 million commercial flights. Each year, we invest well over $1 billion of our own US dollars in R&D, with around 2/3 of that focused on reducing emissions. And to give you a practical example, the fuel consumption of our new Trent XWB engine, which is currently in development, very shortly to fly, this is the new engine for the Airbus A350, is 16% lower fuel burn than the first edition Trent engine. That reduction in emission and fuel will save airlines an average of $2.6 million per aircraft per year, which has a real-world impact on economics and emissions. We are constantly seeking to innovate and have long-term programs which are looking at proving technology products which may enter service in 10 or 20 years' time. Innovation lies at the heart of what we do every day. It's with this in mind that we've established the Advanced Technology Centre, ATC, here in the Salita campus. As part of our global research and development network, the ATC plays a crucial role in Rolls-Royce's strategy to pursue excellence and industry leadership through the identification and development of advanced technologies for the next generation of environmentally friendly engines. And through the ATC, Rolls-Royce has deeply embedded R&D relationships with local research institutions, as mentioned by Jonathan earlier. To give you a sense of innovation at Rolls-Royce, last year we applied for over 450 patents, more than any other UK-based company. And to stay at the forefront of technology, we work with a network of 28 universities around the world, which support over 350 PhD students. About a dozen of those are working in our ATC here in Singapore. There are some amazing technologies that you will see later today. I see amazing because some remarkable engineering goes into what we do. I'll just give you some examples. I mentioned a few moments ago that a Rolls-Royce powered aircraft takes off or lands every 2.5 seconds. That's more than 100 since I began speaking. And the engine which powers it has extraordinary demands placed on it. If you take the Trent 1000, which entered service last year on the Boeing 787 Dreamliner, the fan, and you'll see fans today, the fan at the front of the engine is over 9 feet across. It sucks in up to 1.25 tons of air every second at takeoff. High pressure turbine blades inside the engine rotate at 13,500 RPM, with the tips reaching over 1,000 miles per hour in speed. And at takeoff, each single one of these blades, which I can hold in my hand, is generating the same power as that produced by a Formula 1 car. And they will stay on wing for maybe as long as 10 years. That's 800 horsepower per blade, and I can literally hold one in my hand. Temperatures very high. At full power, the air leaving the nozzle at the back of the engine is traveling at almost 900 miles per hour. And here you can see that this is not just something that is big and powerful, it's also extraordinarily quiet. The Trent 1000 powered Dreamliner on takeoff, and I believe there is one here at the air show you might be able to see, is at least 3 dB quieter than the generation of aircraft it replaces. That's halving the amount of noise. The engine is designed to fly for over 20,000 hours or more, much more, before its first overhaul, which is the equivalent to over 11 million miles flown, or 450 times around the world. It powers an aeroplane weighing around 240 tons, the distances up to 9,500 miles, flying at 37,000 feet at a cruise speed of 567 miles per hour. So that's a lot of technology and a lot of high tech going into these engines. Now, coming back to Rolls-Royce, we have doubled in size over the past decade, and we are confident we will double it again in the next decade. We need skills and talent in order to retain our competitive edge and deliver our promises to customers. The complexity of our business requires the people with the best diverse skills, such as material scientists, physicists, chemists, metallurgists, mathematicians, aerodynamics specialists, and many others. And availability of those skills is one of the reasons why we have chosen to develop this campus. The knowledge that we will grow significantly in the coming years gives us the confidence to continue investing in our portfolio and our operations. We need the additional capacity this Seletar campus represents to deliver on our promises to customers who put their trust in us every day. So this is growth that we're seeing here. It's not replacement, it's additional growth. You will see later the Trent 900 engine, which powers the Airbus A380. And it is the first engine we will produce here in Seletar. Like its other Trent family members, it is a market leader with 11 out of 17 operators, including all but one in Asia, selecting it. It's the cleanest engine on the A380 with the lowest emissions and the lowest noise. These sorts of statistics and technology makes us the market leader. And Singapore here has a key role to play in our future success. And I look forward to the first engine rolling off the production line off to Toulouse to be put on an aircraft later this year. So in closing, what we do as a company is exciting. I'm very pleased to be here on such an important day. I would like to thank everybody who's made this possible. This exceptional facility has been made possible by the efforts of people over the last 2 years. So thank you once again for joining us today. Jonathan and I will now be